What's up, guys? Welcome to the Resource Podcast with Tech and Sports and Daily Refinement. Today, we're going to talk about some eBay costs that will kill you as a seller. And it's not just fees, it's everything other than listing and photography. We're going to go over that in depth today because these costs can add up. If you don't set your business up right, you're going to get buried under the avalanche of stuff that you're supposed to do when you run your business. So, what are your thoughts when you think about things that are beyond just listing and photography, the prep, putting things away, storage?
Like you said, it's not just fees. Fees can never kill you. Fees can never put you out of business
Mm-hmm.
because fees are just based on what you sell. Hopefully, you have more fees than you have no fees, especially with managed payments, that they're going to take out everything, even the insertion fee after the item sells. So, fees should never bury us anymore. There's always a correlation between time and money. The closer you can close the gap between how long things take, the more money you're going to make. That's why all of these businesses are multi-billion-dollar companies, because they've harvested time and they've sold it. So if you can, decrease the time it takes to do a certain task, you're going to make more money. Amazon sells time. They've patented one button, one click purchasing, so you don't even have to go to a second screen. Everybody knows they're going to get you the item the same day, next day, 2 days. Uber sells time. All of these companies sell time. That's what we do also. We might sell used clothing, we might sell a video game, we might sell this or that, but we're selling time. The customer doesn't have to go out to the store and buy it, or go to the thrift and find something in particular. They can go on eBay, save their time, purchase it from us. And that translates to every single thing that we do, whether it's time spent taking photographs, time spent listing, time spent putting away, time spent doing all of these tasks. The longer these tasks take and they're not streamlined, the less money you're going to make at the end of the day. So if you can set up a machine that streamlines these tasks and you can be consistent performing each task every single day, you will make more money because you're closing the time gap. And when you close the time gap, you make more money.
We're also going to go over the 2021 spring seller update today, and that's also part of being a reseller, is keeping up with the platform. If you understand how the platform works, what the best practices are, eBay does actually tell you what they want in their listings. They're not trying to make it difficult. Maybe they make it difficult to understand your fees, but they don't make it difficult to sell on their platform.
No. eBay outlines everything that they want you to do. And if you follow those rules on what they want you to do, and you use the recommendations that they're recommending to you, such as promoted listings, such as list shoes over $100, obviously there's going to be a huge push for shoes over $100, because that's eBay's main focus right now, since they lost the market share to StockX and other businesses. Someone in the Facebook group said that they saw an eBay commercial during the NBA All-Star game about shoes over $100.
Yep.
So if you have shoes over $100, eBay will get those sold for you. And now you can send it out to a third-party authenticator and they forward it to the customer. So there's no fees, it's hassle-free, and that's their main push. So if you have shoes over $100, eBay is spending a tremendous amount of money so you can sell them and so you can make money.
Yeah, it's important to understand this is time that people need to put in. And it's kind of like paying your dues when you're understanding a platform, because if you understand how it works, then you can work the pay plan. That's how you work any kind of job. Make no mistake about it, eBay is the employer.
Yeah, definitely. And like you said, if once you understand the fundamentals of doing it, that's going to allow you to scale. You can't go 0 to 100 immediately. Does not work. So for me, I've been at this for 10 years and I've scaled very, very slowly. And that's calculated and that's on purpose. Because if you go 0 to 100, you're going to have so many different bottlenecks and your business is not going to succeed. So all of these things, all of these time tasks that we have, it needs to be done in a proper manner. Otherwise, it's not possible to scale your business properly, successfully, and safely.
Listening to you actually unlocked a few things for me, because the putting the, when I tried to go 0 to 100 a
Right.
few times. Actually, that seems to be like my default. I love going 0 to 100. And what happens is you get slapped in the face with things that that would not have been a problem if you just went slowly. Because if you grow, you just need a little bit more space, you need a little bit more prep time, you need a little bit more photography. What happens when you go balls to the wall? You completely ignore one section because you don't even have time to get to it. Then that entire thing is behind. If you start hiring people, they show up, their work, if it's not prepped, that's totally on you, and they're not going to want to
Yeah,
work there.
it's all connected in like a chain. If there's a kink in the chain, it's going to disrupt the entire system. So, like for me, every time I've gone up incrementally and scaled, I've sat there for a long time, like for a year and a half, for 2 years, just to make sure all the kinks are out of the system, and then it will allow me to scale more successfully. The biggest key to that is when you do scale, you're putting out a lot more money into inventory. Your sales haven't caught up yet, and within a year, within 10 months, within a year and a half, hopefully you're selling a lot more items, which can afford you to scale again. So, my timeline has been very slowly, very safely. And like your timeline, like what has been your timeline from the beginning until now, like scaling wise? Because I know at the beginning you went balls to the wall, then you scaled back. So after you scaled back, what was it? You were a one man show doing shoes mostly.
So I for a long time I was a one person show, all the sourcing, everything except for photography. I think the entire time I've been reselling, I've had a photographer. So I've always thought disliked taking photos. So that has been my having somebody help me take the photos. But I didn't think of it your way, which is how I want other people to think about it, which is you're a 15 item a week person, then 16 item a week person, then 17 item a week person. I never thought of it that way. I always just thought, what's the maximum possible, and then try to do that. And when you're operating at maximum, you gave the analogy today, like if you're a car and you're running it the fastest the car can go, it's going to start shaking. It's going to feel like it's going to blow up. It's not meant to go that fast.
No, totally. So when like it's very easy to look at it and say the more stuff I buy, I hire the people, we get it online, it's all gonna sell. I'm gonna make a tremendous amount of money. Like I don't know a lot of people who just walk into this and do that. Like you've talked to a lot of people. Are there people that walk into this with a huge bankroll and say, okay, day one, balls to the wall, I have the means to purchase all of this inventory, have all of these employees, and we're gonna build a massive eBay store from day one?
It never works. And the best example of this is swap.com. They have a million listings and not even a 1% sell through rate because they didn't do a single thing right. All the fundamentals are broken. They don't have a good shipping system, so items are late. They don't have a good photography system, so there's listings with no photos. They don't have good titles, so their titles are missing key item specifics. They don't have a good anything. They have like bits and pieces of an eBay store, but that translates into no sales because you have to do everything to have consistent sales. There's no like how do you buy something if there's no photos, and then how do you buy something if there's photos but no description? It doesn't work.
All right, so it doesn't work. And then what was your next step? You just totally reset, fired everybody, and then
Yep.
what happened when the dust cleared?
Yeah, so the dust cleared. So I started liquidation. I found a supplier, and I had a lot of space. So I went balls to the wall, hired 7 people. And because I didn't know how to do it, I was like, okay, you're listing, you're photographing, you're shipping, I'm buying. And that sounds like it will work
Right,
on paper,
right.
but they're not good at it. And on top of that, I wasn't good at buying.
And you're not good at telling them or showing them how it needs to be done because
That's
you're
right. I
because
can't
you're
show them
brand new.
how. That's right. I can't show them how to do it. So what I had was what looked like an eBay store because there's lots of items in it, but they're not getting any predictable traffic because things are being done a different way. There's no way to even fix it because you don't know what's wrong with it. So tore it all down, started over again. Was mainly a shoe seller. Got to maybe 3 or 4 thousand listings. Comfortable living, but I don't like driving. So driving around kind of difficult, can't really scale. And I really wanted to get to the point where I could afford help.
Hmm.
And that's like, it just came down to, as you know, doing this partnership with you over the last 3 months or 4 months now, I've learned that your stress levels go down when you reduce variability. And that's been
Yeah.
all it is. Every day I'm just removing, get rid of this step, get rid of that step, get rid of this step, until the point where there's really nothing to remove because it's already as clean as it gets.
And I talk to you every single day pretty much, and you don't
Yeah.
strike me as a stressful person at all.
No, I'm not,
So
but
go ahead.
to my like, I think about the way I approached eBay at first and how silly it was to not learn the platform. That's really the key. Like, I know how to sell things, but learning the platform is how you master the platform. You have to get how it works. Like, I always looked at the numbers on the outside, like, okay, you list more, you make more, but
Mm-hmm.
didn't look at the time, the space, and making a perfect listing right the first time. In
Right.
fact, I really don't know very many people that try to do listings right the first time.
Right.
Most people actually have built into their system, I have to go back once a week and adjust listings because they're not done right.
And
That's actually in the model.
that's something that is not in my model. There's
Yeah.
no going back to the store and fixing anything. There's no going back
Yeah.
and saying, oh, I need to comb through 10% of my listings and make them correct. That is not in my system at all. And I heard you guys talking about that this morning concerning account maintenance. To me, account maintenance is making sure my messages are replied to quickly, handling offers quickly, handling returns, handling cancellations, handling feedback, handling item not arrived, and sending invoices, all of that stuff, handling defects, all of that. No part of the account maintenance is going back and reworking the work that I've already done. I don't do that. I if I have it too long, I do a more aggressive markdown sale in the summer because things do fall through the cracks for whatever reason. But if my store turns over 2.5 times per year, do I make more money by just listing more items, or do I make more money by going back through and redoing work that I've already done?
Well, I mean, we always recommend that you continue the better way. If you have to go back and fix it, you have to go back and fix it, but don't stop the production and
No,
go back.
no.
You got to keep
The
going.
fixing is extra. The fixing is additional. So you get
That's
your
right.
50 up and then you go back and fix. Fixing is not a substitute for getting new listings up, in my opinion, at all. So when you switch from shoes to clothes, because shoes are very difficult to scale, they're hard to find. Would you say
Yeah,
that?
that's the main thing.
Would you say that? What's the easier part about scaling from shoes to clothes? Is it the abundance or is it the cost? Because shoes also cost a lot more money.
Shoes cost more money. They take up more space. So per square foot, clothing is more valuable, which is important depending on where you live. And the travel time is the part that kills it. Like, for example, if you look at when I look at Rinzi, they're maybe the best resellers for shoes that I've seen as far as making a team, building systems.
Mm-hmm.
They spend 2 full days driving around looking for things, right? And they're experts. And that doesn't work in without a really good plan.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't plan out the sourcing routes as detailed as they did. So, yes, I would find between 100 and 300 shoes a week. And that's on the road all the time. That's calling different businesses to see if they have overstock. And you can get a big liquidation, but it's not going to be sizes you want.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're going to go out and hunt Facebook Marketplace or snipe on Poshmark looking for deals, that's a onesie, twosie, and it's really hard to build anything sustainable. And in the call this morning, somebody brought up the definition of a sole proprietorship, and I looked at that, and it's where there's no difference between the business and the person. That's what a sole proprietorship is defined as.
Right.
And that's when you're a shoe seller, separating that at all to get a business to business relationship in the shoe game means you open a brick and mortar. There's really no other way to get a business to business. It's all onesie twosie. It's really hard to get bulk deals, and clothing is the opposite.
Right. So, like, going off of what we talked about earlier, when you can close the time gap, you make more money. So you've closed your time gap sourcing wise.
Yeah.
And as a result, you've made more money. So instead of driving around all week to find shoes, what you source 2 days a week now, right?
Yep. And there's way more time reductions, but go ahead.
Yeah. So you source 2 days a week because you don't have to drive around all the time, which is going to allow you more time to get listings up. So you close the sourcing gap, increased your listing, which resulted in more money for you at the end of the day. So for me, when I was at my peak doing 120, 140, 160 per day, I was doing a lot of sourcing. I was maxed out. There was no way that I could do 250 items per day and source every single day. So I closed the sourcing time gap, and now I have 0% of my time is spent sourcing because the items come to me now, which has allowed me to list 250 items per day. And since I closed the time gap of sourcing, I'm making a tremendous amount more money because I went from 120 to 250 listings by eliminating going out and sourcing.
There's a lot more things that get eliminated. Another thing is with clothing, there's really only about 8 questions that you get, and most of them are related to sizing. So um, maybe you get a, hey, can you give me an idea of the color? Rarely that somebody might ask for clarification on the color, but mainly they're going to ask about clarification of fit.
Yep.
When are they going to get it? So when I switched, when I first switched to clothing and then I added jeans, I didn't understand the questions for jeans. So once I added cuff and rise measurements to the listings, most of those questions went away because those are the main questions with jeans are measurements.
Mm-hmm.
And the customer service went way down. The returns, the process is a lot easier now because I have almost a 0% item not as described. It's only doesn't fit, which makes it a lot easier because then that's just one way of doing things. I have one business policy now, which is a lot, but I actually need to modify that to 2 because you really should have one for first class and one for priority, in my opinion, at least.
Right. And at your peak, how many business policies did you have going?
30.
Holy cow.
Tons, because there was like first class, because with shipping shoes, if somebody buys 2 pairs of shoes, that's pretty bulky.
Mm-hmm.
You got to spend some time looking at it. Also, I was multi-platform, so your thoughts of the 20,000 hooks in one pond. I had hooks in all kinds of different ponds,
Right.
and that's that time, that context switching between one platform to another. You can say, oh, only takes 1 minute. It only takes 1 minute to do the work, but it takes you 20 minutes to recover mentally from switching things. And then there's also a lot more work in proofreading and launching drafts when the shoe category is so wide that you could simplify shoes and just do like just dress shoes or just sneakers, but I would say now the drafting process with clothing is easier because I'm not sure why. Shoes is pretty easy too on the drafting, but cleaning, there's no more cleaning shoes. That was also a big hassle. Now, if you just wash your clothing, you're good. There is a new thing that I have, which is buttoning. That's not faster than shoes.
So for you, again, you've closed another time gap, which was multi-platforms, because it might take an extra minute to list an item on another platform. No problem. It's a minute. But shipping in the morning, you have to go to a whole nother shipping platform, ship from there. You have to go to a whole another platform for customer service. You have to go to a whole nother platform for returns. All of that adds up. So you close the gap of eliminating an entire other platform. And again, you've made more money. So like every single time that you can close the gap and focus and get all of that other stuff out of your way, you're going to make more money. It's as simple as if I have same day handling time and you have 5 days or 2 week handling time, I can sell the item for more money because it's time. I closed the gap on delivery. So you eliminated an entire platform, and as crazy as it sounds, are making more sales, making more money. Logically, that doesn't even make sense.
No, it doesn't. I would say now, like as weird as this sounds to a beginner, 50 listings is now easy.
Right.
Because when you look at after you try, like, Monica Poshhanger says, if you start on eBay, all the other platforms are easy.
Right.
That's true because eBay is pretty complicated. But after doing a bajillion things and now focusing on just a couple things, the speed is unbelievable. This is why I understand why people wear the same clothing, eat the same meal. All the redundancies speed up everything. And this is the difference. It's not. It's the difference between doing 5 listings a day and 50. It's not even close. The people who are focused and streamlined sometimes make 100 times more money than an average person because the speed is unparalleled. It doesn't even. You're not even tempted. So, um, I a lot of professional athletes say it's easier to be a professional athlete than an amateur athlete.
Yeah.
Because when you're a pro, you only do that.
Mhm.
There's nothing to be a professional athlete. That's your entire day.
Right. The amateur still works at FedEx.
That's right.
And the amateur has to get it in after hours. He has multiple platforms, and like it's mind-boggling that if you consolidate your platforms, you make more money. It
It
doesn't even
doesn't
make
seem like that would
sense.
work.
It does not make sense. But you're living proof. You jumped on Poshmark and you crushed it immediately.
Yeah,
And then you
because it's
said,
easier.
yeah, and then you said, you know what? I'm going to eliminate Poshmark. I'm going to go to eBay, and your store has doubled since you made that decision, sales wise and size wise. It that's
And
almost
I have less. Everything also takes less time. On top of the fact that this is the part that is confusing. I mean, it's counterintuitive. You think, okay, if I'm only on one platform, I'm robbing myself from the other traffic of the different platforms. But unless you're selling multi-quantity,
right.
it really doesn't make sense because the time spent, the 5 listings on 3 platforms is probably 20 listings on one platform because of the context switching. And then also the time that we just talked about in the beginning of the episode of mastering eBay, you have to triple that time and master 3 platforms. They're not identical. You can't just copy the same thing across all 3 platforms. They're not. That's not how it works.
No, because on Poshmark, the titles are shorter. They require
Yep.
a different kind of square photo or something. And how long does it take to learn another platform, and how long do you neglect the original platform? Because it's very difficult for everything to rise. It's very easy for Poshmark to rise and eBay slacks. Okay, let me focus on eBay. Now Poshmark sucks. Or let me focus on Amazon and now they both suck. Like it's very easy to do that, but it's very difficult for everything to rise in unison and to split your focus between multiple platforms. Like I used to go real heavy on Amazon. Now I don't because like it splits my focus. And ever since I've been laser focused on eBay and eBay alone, I've made so much more money because every single process is the same. Wake up, take pictures of what's sold, respond to offers, respond to messages, head to the warehouse, pick the items, pack the items, take photos, list, then I'm done for the day.
If you'd like to continue listening to the podcast, please join our Patreon at patreon.com/the resellers podcast. We appreciate your time, and we have 24 full-length episodes on Patreon for you to listen to. And if you join our Facebook group, we have replays of all of our coaching, and we have 9 live Zoom coaching per week. So we'll see you guys in the group. Appreciate your time. Take care.